Good. Thank you. You're very good at what you do as well, Leon. Really, really appreciate it. Come back and see us again. Give us your analysis.
Around his wife's tax affairs. What makes you think he would make a good Prime Minister?
Well, I think if we look at the current situation, this has been started really by turmoil in the markets, and Rishi Sunak has a proven track record, first as Chief Secretary to the Treasury, then as Chancellor. Backtrack, level of U-turn, whatever you want to call it, to happen so early on in a new Prime Minister's tenure is quite extraordinary. I mean, Liz Truss won this leadership election picturing herself as Margaret Thatcher 2.0, famously U-turn if you want to, that the lady's not for turning. Well, here we are, and Liz Truss has performed that U-turn just a few weeks into the job. So I think
Kwasi Kwarteng arrives back from Heathrow into the Treasury today. What do they even start to do?
Well, I think ultimately they will be working closely with Number 10 to make sure that there is coordination with whatever.
Leon, former Tory advisor, what would you be advising Boris Johnson right now?
Well, I would advise him to stop speaking. I think exactly as you say, it was a pretty tepid speech.
Awful.
When you look at David Cameron's speech, you look at Theresa May's speech, I mean, both have their faults, but at least there was a bit of emotion in there. There was a little bit.
It looked like they cared.
They actually
the whips, the people who are supposedly in charge of party discipline, what are they doing right now before the Prime Minister addresses his backbench MPs?
Spreadsheets
Really?
and spreadsheets. Yeah, I mean, they're going to be looking at the numbers, seeing who they can count on, seeing who they can rely on. The thing here is that it's not a public vote, it is a private ballot. So, in a way, whatever the MPs are saying publicly on their Twitter feeds might not translate to the ballot box. So Number 10 aides, Chief of Staff are going to be looking at those numbers. Who can we 100% count on, and who's maybe wavering, who we could twist a few arms and try and bring them onto our side. It's been an extraordinary day, twists and turns at pretty much every hour. We've had a number of high-profile resignations from senior ministers. We've had Boris Johnson looking like he's on the verge of resigning, and then now looks like he's digging in. And that's Boris Johnson's character. He is a politician who is very stubborn, who will fight to the death.
Emirali, former Conservative advisor. Right now, what would you be advising any of them? Because this is a shambles, man.
It is an utter shambles. I mean, it's been chaos after chaos after chaos. And I think that what we're seeing is Liz Truss effectively being hamstrung from the moment she took office. I mean, let's not forget that she didn't have the support of the majority of MPs in the first place. So it wasn't really a surprise that her downfall was so
on track. But there's so many discussions going on now between government departments who want money from Number 11 because essentially public services are crumbling for various reasons.
Yeah.
So they all need more money. They're all asking for more money. And Jeremy Hunt...
So, Mr. Devil in the detail. Interesting to see what it means to that sector.
Absolutely, and we're starting to see reaction from all the different sectors that are being impacted coming out with, what they think, whether this works, whether it doesn't work. And this is the issue with budgets. You think it looks good on paper, it could even sound good at the dispatch box, but once it meets the cold, hard reality of real life, you then start to realise whether this works.
Let us speak now to Leon Emirali, who is a former aide to Steve Barclay during his time as Brexit Secretary under Boris Johnson. Thank you for joining us. Rishi Sunak has pulled something off that Boris Johnson couldn't.
He has, Geeta. It seems as though Rishi Sunak is riding a high here. As you say, this was something that Boris Johnson attempted but couldn't quite get over the line. And I think looking at that joint press conference, the overriding feeling of warmth between Ursula von der Leyen and Rishi Sunak was something that we just haven't seen in the relationship between prime ministers and other leaders in the European Union before. So I think...